What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com. If you're a blind film critic, and we're getting into All That We Love, which is a 2025 dramedy that came and went with silence. Just moved through the room as if you did not know it was there. Yet it stars Margaret Cho, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Kenneth Choi, in smaller roles, Devin Bostick, Missy Pyle, some other people are in here, but the three most likely to draw an audience, I would say, would be Margaret, Jesse, and Kenneth. In case you didn't immediately recognize Kenneth Choi's name, he's been on 911 forever, so he has at least that fan base to him. So, All That We Love does not have audio description, which is sad. I'm a sad panda at that. But also, I have no idea who's distributing this. This feels like the kind of like film festival movie that never really gets picked up by anybody major, and it just kind of like floats until you watch it on hiding on a streaming service somewhere. Um, which is exactly how I found it, by the way. So, uh, yeah, for the people who go to doesthedogdie.com, I'm going to save you the time. Yes. Yes, it does. And you're like, "Ah, that's a spoiler." It's like, it's the first thing that happens. You open on the movie, and Margaret is like, her pet is dying, like at the beginning of the movie. So, for the people who would, wonder, like, oh, is this, yeah. So it's a catalyst for change in the movie. Is don't worry, it's not like a violent death. It's just it's time. It's time to cross the Rainbow Bridge. Was its name Tanner? I think it was Tanner. So she's left, and her life is sort of a little bit in turmoil. Her best friend, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, is there to offer sage advice from time to time, and also continue to shape his own character. He plays the gay best friend to Margaret Cho's straight character. I think I was okay. Um, and Jesse's a widower, um, because his partner died, and so he's been sort of exploring life without him in interesting ways that maybe Margaret does or does not approve of. And then Margaret has an opportunity in her life to do something that Jesse does not approve of, which is the fact that her deadbeat ex comes back into the picture, played by Kenneth Choi, who has gone through AA, has realized the error in his ways, and is at least trying to make amends on some level and take responsibility for being a shitty husband and father and walking out on them. And so they have lots of long conversations. Meanwhile, Margaret's also trying to balance this relationship with her daughter that is looking at moving to Australia with her Australian boyfriend that Margaret's not too happy about because he's taking her daughter to Australia. So it's a conglomerate of family issues and dynamics that ends in some, high emotionally tense moments and rises and falls in conversations where people are upset and angry at each other. And it can be a little melodramatic at times, but overall I liked it. Like, at the end of the day, in a binary yes, no, good, bad world, I did like it. It was interesting to see Margaret sort of being given the chance to lead a film like this, and to have a character with emotional depth and range like this. It did, at the beginning, I wondered if it was going to be a lot like Molly Shannon's Year of the Dog, which was and still is a film that you just went, Molly Shannon's in a film called Year of the Dog. Uh, And now you're on IMDb going, is this movie? Um, so I kind of wondered if it was going to be in that direction, headed in that direction, but no, it becomes a lot about forgiveness and moving on and how hard that is and the pressures of everybody else for you to not accept an apology and for you to not move on and for you to, are you stupid for falling back into a trap? Is that what you're falling into? Are you sliding back into your old ways because you can't see the forest for the trees, all those kind of things, as there's this heavy amount of uncertainty around Kenneth's character and whether or not he will stay the course, or is he going to pick up a glass again? So, I like the movie. I can understand why this sort of floated without any definitive reason or purpose in life, without a major studio coming in here and being like, ooh, I can market this. It feels very indie. It feels like the kind of thing that attracts like an IFC Sundance ish type vibe to it. I don't think it would have gone much above like a roadside attractions, like in terms of a distributor, Magnolia, like that's kind of as high as it was ever gonna go. Um, it's for a film with Margaret Cho and Jesse Tyler Ferguson. I would not call it an LGBTQ film in nature because it's largely this family dynamic with Margaret, her daughter, and her ex-husband. Jesse is tangentially attached to that, being like the best friend, and I think he's the godfather to the daughter. So he's there, but that doesn't inherently make it an LGBTQ movie, nor do the presence of Jesse and Margaret inherently make it an LGBTQ movie. So if you're looking for the strongest amount of representation, I don't know that that's what this is either. It's just kind of an interesting dramedy that allows actors who don't normally get to flex their dramatic muscles outside of the limited scopes that they've been given an opportunity to do so. For an actress like Margaret, who started out as a stand-up comedian, she rarely gets an opportunity to do this kind of thing. She was quite lovely in Fire Island a couple years ago, but she just really doesn't get opportunities like this much, and she certainly doesn't get them as the lead. Um, Jesse, on the other hand, the last thing I saw him in, he was totally miscast, and I ended up shitting all over him for being in the very Jonas Christmas movie where he was Santa. What a bizarre casting choice. I mean, I love Jesse Tyler Ferguson, but I can't imagine like what kind of crack somebody was on when they were like, who's the best choice to play Santa? Jesse Tyler Ferguson? What an odd choice. Such an odd choice. Um, I probably would have held a casting call and found a no-name actor before I would have thought of hiring Jesse Tyler Ferguson. Just found some dude on the street who had never done a film before but looked remotely close to Santa or had a Santa vibe or an age to him. Jesse's not even old enough. Like it's such a weird choice. Anyway, he has some dramatic weight here, almost like he auditioned for Fellow Travelers and didn't get it, and the little monologues he's gotten here are his way of making up for not being allowed to be in Fellow Travelers. But at the same time, uh, the writing is just okay. Like his writing can be kind of inconsistent, and he doesn't quite get the support from the script that he needs to have these really big moments. And I don't know that the work behind the camera, that the direction that he's being given is necessarily pushing him to the fullest extent. He does have one scene where I thought he finally got there, like he worked himself to the point where it was like, okay, there you go. There's some honesty coming out in what it is that you're saying. Um, and he has another one that is, it's written so well, but I don't 100% know that he knew what to do with it, having to do with Pop Tarts. Like, I liked it, but it kind of felt like a cold read from a student actor, if that makes any sense. It kind of felt like the first run of something and nobody had any notes. And I get it, like if you're sitting there and you don't have the experience behind the camera and you've gotten, Margaret Cho, just Tyler Ferguson, these people who have these careers, it may feel daunting for you to give them notes. But also recognizing the fact that these people have had much better performances in their career and that you should challenge them to do and for this to be their best. Like, that is the work that you have to do when you're directing anyone. If I were to direct, for example, De Niro in a movie, right? I'm not just going to be like, well, what could I possibly offer to De Niro, except feedback? Like I'd be in there and I'd be like, I don't know that it worked, man. I mean, I know your body of work. I know what you're capable of. That line didn't feel real. Did you feel like it was real? How did you feel about it? Like you gotta get up in there and do something with it. You can't just be like, well, it's, and it kind of feels like that's what it is. It kind of feels like, for a lot of what Jesse does, that it was like a first take, and they were just like, well, that was good enough. And because he's a good actor, a lot of it works, but a lot of it you feel like, I think there could have been more from a director that could have just milked more out of it. Um, Again, I'm impressed by Margaret because she doesn't normally get roles like this, um, which makes it inherently interesting. And I thought Kenneth did a nice job of navigating a character that is, racked with guilt and is trying to move on, trying to move past it. At the same time, um, dealing with this new reality that he lives in. Um, and especially toward the end of the film, once his character arc kind of lands, he kind of lands in a nice place for his character. So yeah, I would not recommend this movie, but is it a high score for me? No. A, it doesn't have audio description, and B, there are parts to this film where I feel like either the script could have been punched up or the director needed to have the chutzpah to get up in there and say, hey, can we do that again? And maybe a little bit more of this. Or, hey, can we do that again? I didn't quite feel that. I wasn't quite getting that from you. Or, hey, so, yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's a much better role for Jesse than Jonas Christmas, which was such a waste of time for him. It'd be a waste of time for nearly anybody, like, but for him, it just was a bizarre waste of time because he stood out in a role that shouldn't have been his to begin with, in a movie that was not great, but okay. I mean, I know it has its fans, uh, Jonas fans, which is exactly the audience that it would have played to, but I don't think it attracts non-Jonas fans at all. I still contend that that movie needed more Christmas music in it, but anyway, that's too full. Um, yeah, All That We Love. I I mean, I liked it. It's just not like I know it doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement. This is my unstructured review, so it feels like we're having a conversation about it. Should you run out immediately and watch it? Probably not, but if you see it on a streaming service and you're looking for something to watch and you're kind of liking these vibes, you like these actors, I think the strongest reason to watch is Margaret Cho. I think if you're like, what has she been up to? Where has she been? Why hasn't she gotten better roles throughout her career? What's going on with her? If you have any of that kind of stuff, if you're a fan, I remember her from back in All American Girl days. I still remember that sitcom from back in the 90s. So, seeing her sort of mature into this role is quite lovely. And I think it's the strongest reason to say yes to the dress. I'm going to give All That We Love, I'm going to give it a 6.4 out of 10. It's good enough. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Oh, it's a fresh, by the way. 6.4 fresh. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.